here's how you could use the spinner script to create your own custom spinners. In your scripts folder, you have a spinner script that I've made for you. In your game, you could, for example, create a new 3D object. How about a capsule? I'm just going to move this a little bit in front of my player, maybe lift it up a little bit off the ground. Maybe I'm going to stretch it out. Let's just make this a little bit bigger, a little bit taller, and a little bit fatter this way. So it's kind of an interesting, I don't know what you'd call this, almost like a bar of soap shaped object. I can turn this into a spinner really easily, simply by dragging the spinner script onto it. I'm going to hit run in my game, and right now nothing's happening because I haven't set any settings for the spinner in place. I also might need to actually attach a rigid body to this if I want to make it collidable. The first thing that I want to do is decide on a speed. Let's just choose 2 for now. Then, if I toggle an axis, I can make this thing spin. Maybe I want to make it spin on multiple different axes for kind of a cool effect. I can use this to make kind of cool decorations around my scene. If I want to make this not collidable, just kind of something that looks nice. Or maybe I want to make a platform that's kind of moving in a certain way. I can always reset this rotation, only have it rotate on a certain axis. So maybe I want to have a platform that's kind of harder to jump on, or maybe one that's simply just, let's go like this, rotating in a way I have to jump kind of around it, or maybe kind of an opening that opens up for only part of the time. I can also make this thing go really fast or really slow if I want to, for whatever game mechanic that I have in mind. But you can use the spinner script on any object that you want. Technically, I could even just kind of, if I felt like it, let's just check the ground here. Why not just, as a test, stick this on the ground and give it a 0.1 spin speed on the x-axis, and notice that my world itself is beginning to twist and turn in the sky. Now, it's a plane, so we can't see underneath it, but now that the world itself is kind of having some issues, it kind of creates a bit of a unique game mechanic. Let's see it in scene view to see what's going on here. But there's my ground slowly rotating. You could imagine adding in a platform that slowly rotates, that the player has to kind of time running across a big, large expanse. But I can attach that spinner script to basically anything to get things spinning in whatever way that I want. Also, one more reminder here, I can actually change the axis of the spinner if I want to. Let's pause this here. My capsule, if I create an empty game object and place the capsule underneath it, I can now change the relative location of the capsule spin based off of this parent game object. I'm going to attach the spinner to my parent by going back over here, attach the spinner to this, and let's just test this out with a simple rotation on the y-axis just to make sure this is working. And one thing I notice right now is this is kind of going wonky and spinning all over the place. Why is that the case? Well, the parent object itself was placed with its initial starting point really far away from this actual capsule. So what I can do to fix that is just take my parent game objects separately and have it move to the same location as my spinner. One other way to do this really easily is to go to my capsule, right-click on transform, and copy components. So it's copying all the transform information, and go to this game object, right-click on transform, and paste component values. It's going to place that empty component in the same spot as my capsule. Now if I place my capsule on it and I run this again, I should now see that it's rotating in the way that I expect. But now what I can do instead here is actually take this child capsule, and by moving it around a little bit relative to my parent's location, it's now going to be rotating around the parent's different axis. And now look at this. It actually is rotating around the center point, but it's offset. So now it's a little bit like I actually have to kind of have two paths that slowly open and close. And I've created kind of a unique mechanic here to try to get around that. Maybe I want to add some collision to this or something else. But I've used the spinner tool to create a really custom experience just by tweaking the hierarchy of objects as well as applying the spinner script with the settings that I want. Have fun with it.